Good afternoon, everyone. Dear teachers, 10th standard students, mainly for the play begins with the Julius Caesar, a great general and senator. At the heights of his power and glory, he has returned to Rome after defeating the sons of Pompey, the leader whom he overthrew and killed in a civil war, to become the master of Rome. This kit is for 10th standard, especially those who are preparing for the board exams. So here the theory, Rome is still legally a republic, democratically ruled by her aristocratic senate with the consent of the Roman people. But in fact, Caesar is king in everything except in name. Even though Caesar is not yet a king, there is already deep opposition to his rule. So now, Julius Caesar, Act 3, Scene 1. So in this scene, action filled with tension and suspense. So the scene takes place just outside the Capitol. There is a crowd of people in the street leading to the Capitol. Among them are Artemidorus and the soothsayer. Now, trumpet sounds. As Caesar approaches surrounded by nobles and the conspirators, Brutus, Cassius, Casca, Decius, Metellus Imbert, Trebonius, Antony, Lepidus, Populus, Publius and Cinna.
Hey, you soothsayer, the ides of March have come. What do you say?
Yes, Caesar, but the day is not yet over. Let's wait and see.
This hell, because I shall kill myself.
Don't worry, Cassius. I'm certain that Populus is not speaking. For see, he's smiling and Caesar had not changed his expression.
Okay, anyway, Trebonius knows his time, for his action has come. For he is throwing Mark Antony away from Caesar.
Antony and Trebonius goes out.
Where is Metellus Imbert? Let him go soon and make his petition to Caesar.
Hey, he's addressing Caesar. Come closer and support him.
Hey Casca, remember you are the first to strike Caesar.
Yes, I'm ready.
Hello everyone, are we all ready? What strong engagements are there that must be set right by Caesar and his senate?
Most high, most mighty and most powerful Caesar, Metellus Imbert approaches your throne with a humble heart.
No, I must not permit you to kneel, Metellus Imbert. These stooping bows and salutating may have some effect on ordinary men and fill their hearts with pride. Don't be so foolish as to think that Caesar has such a weak nature, then he can be swayed to the proper course. Caesar does not have any blood of fools in his veins, then he can be melted by the sweet words. See you, Metellus, your brother has been banished by law. If you kneel down and beg me for his pardon, I shall kick you like a dog out of my way. You should know that Caesar does no wrong.
Is there no one with a voice more worthy than my own, to sound more sweetly in Caesar's ear, for the recall of my banished brother?
I kiss your hand as a token of respect and not to flatter you, Caesar. Asking of you probably is Publius Imbert will immediately have freedom by being allowed to come back from banishment.
What, Brutus, you also?
Pardon me, great Caesar. Even at your feet does Cassius fall to beg for the restoration of freedom for Publius Imbert.
I could really be easily persuaded if I were like you, but I'm as famous as a pole star which has no equal in the sky. The skies are dotted with innumerable stars, all of them as fire and shine brilliantly. But there is only one among them which holds its place unchangingly, which is the pole star. So I remain constant in my resolve to keep him banished.
Oh Caesar, oh Caesar.
Get away from here.
O mighty Caesar,
Did you not see Decius that even Brutus not requested me in the way? Then how can you move me?
All right, Caesar. Let my hands and not words speak on my behalf. Caesar had paid the price of his ambition.
Go to the platform, Brutus.
Where is Antony?
Fled to his house in great confusion.
Now, Destiny, we shall know what you have proposed first.
And he who loses 20 years of his life only loses so many years of misery, fear for death.
Well, Cassius, if you admit that his death is a blessing rather than a curse, come on, you Roman citizens, let us all bend down and wash our hands in Caesar's blood, up to our elbows, and paint our swords in Caesar's blood, and then we shall walk by waving our red swords overhead, shouting peace, freedom, and liberty.
Yes, Brutus, let us bend down and bath our hands and weapons.
Brutus seems not to see the blood as real blood at all. For him, it is a symbol of a solemn act of purification of Rome. Purification of Rome. The impurity in the government of Rome was Caesar's ambition. And now that he is dead, the threat to Rome is over. He therefore pursues his fellow conspirators to smear Caesar's blood all over the hands and forearms.
Now, shall we move?
Yes, Cassius, let us do so. Brutus should lead us.
Enter a servant.
Stop, who comes here? Hey, he's a friend of Antony.
Oh, Brutus, my master Antony ordered me to kneel before you in this way. I have also been bending knee. I say you that Brutus is noble, wise, brave and honest, and that Caesar was brave, royal and affectionate, and Antony loves him. He feared Caesar and loves him. This is the message my master Antony was sent to you, through me.
Your master is a wise and valiant Roman, and I never thought of him less than that. If you can tell him that if he thinks it fits, he can come here and I'll satisfy his doubts, and we can be able to convince him and persuade him to become our friend.
I wish that also.
Servant leaves the place. Now re-enter Antony.
Welcome, Mark Antony.
Oh, most powerful Caesar, do you lie so low? Are all your victories, glories, successes, and achievements reduced to this tiny space your body covers? Good day, gentleman. I do not know your intentions. I request you, if you have any grudge against me, then kill me while your hands dark red with blood are still hot and steamy.
Oh, Antony, please don't ask to die on our hands. Only if we are cruel and bloody due to the bloody deed we have done, we do not see the motives which prompted us to commit this murder. Our hearts are full of brotherly love for you and welcome you with love, with good thoughts and admirations.
Mark Antony, your opinion shall be as influential.
We ask you to be patient till we pacify the people.
I do not doubt your wise judgment. Let me shake hands with all of you even though they are bloody. Marcus Brutus, Cassius, Metellus Cimber, Casca, Cinna, and last but not least, my love for him, good Trebonius. Forgive me, Julius Caesar. Here the hunters who killed you are standing bearing the marks of your death returned with your life blade. Mark Antony, pardon me, Cassius. I do not blame you for praising Caesar. Do you wish that we should include you among our friends? I shook hands with you with that purpose on my mind.
Our reasons are so justified that even if you see the sun, you will feel convinced.
That is all I ask. I also wish to take your permission to allow me to take Caesar's body to the marketplace and spread a few words at his funeral.
You shall carry on, Mark Antony.
Yes, Brutus, let me speak with you. Do not permit Mark Antony to speak at Caesar's funeral.
Don't worry, Cassius. I shall myself deliver a speech on the public platform, first and fully impress on the minds of the people, and shall say that whatever Antony speaks is by our permission.
I do not know what will happen, but I do not like it.
Mark Antony, you're allowed to take charge of Caesar's body, but you may speak as much good as you like about Caesar, and shall say you do it by our permission, and you shall speak on the same platform on which I speak, but only after my speech is over.
That is all I ask for and no more.
Prepare the body, follow us.
Everybody leaves the place except Antony.
Oh, stand on request to come in now. Okay? I think you would stay in a while. You should not go back till I carry the corpse into the marketplace, where I shall make an attempt in my speech to find out what view the people of Rome have of this cruel act. Accordingly, you will go and inform and talk to us of the state of affairs. Help me to carry the corpse.